Many people came to this mysterious and terrifying place not to have fun, but to have a sad moment in their lives, because in this place they were trying to find a job. Despite the busyness of the place, one recruiting place was empty for some reason, and no one lined up for this employer. The blonde man was indignant that since there was no one in this place, then it would be better if the neighboring booths were expanded so that people wouldn't crowd in. He felt that this company was being too irresponsible and was just taking up space, and after all, work was already hard to find. This caused the guy behind him to pay attention to this empty space. As it turned out, it wasn't empty, and there was a girl sitting there. He tried to read the job title, but that only added more questions to his mind. The guy couldn't understand why there was no line for this company. As he looked at the lines at the booths with jobs in the neighborhood, he only disappointedly remarked that his turn at the other places wouldn't come up until tomorrow at the earliest. Many were willing to fight for the job, lowering their value to be a more attractive option for the employer. Some were willing to work 10 hours a day with 1 day off a week. Some were even asking to be hired since they wouldn't have to pay much. Someone was even willing to pay a fee for the internship period. The guy sighed disappointedly, imagining how hard it would be for him to compete with people like that. In the end, he decided to try his luck where none of the applicants even approached. At the table, a girl sat bored and looked at her phone. As soon as the guy approached the employer's desk, he passed as if through some invisible barrier. The girl immediately hid her phone and smiled at the sight of the guy. It could now be seen that the employer had his own uniqueness. The entire employer's cubicle was as if separated from the rest of the room by some kind of barrier. No one even noticed that the guy had approached the employer and that there was an employer at all. The girl asked the guy to tell briefly about himself. The guy said with a smile that his name was Yan Wenhan. He said that he had finished his studies in the construction department at the Polytechnic with a grade point average of 3 whole and 56 hundredths. In school, he received a scholarship. He considered his strengths to be kindness and sociability. The girl immediately asked the guy if he had loyalty and hard work. Yan Wenhan informs with a strained smile that he has such qualities. Yan thought that the girl thought his resume was insufficient. He was even upset, although he already knew that his chances of finding a good job were initially low. Besides, other companies were also doing a thorough screening process. Others had too many candidates, so he was unlikely to find a job there too. He sighed heavily. The guy approached the employer just to try his luck, because suddenly he would be hired, and so the cultural company was not even related to his work. In the end, he decided to give up in search of a good job. However, contrary to his thoughts, the girl took another look at his resume and smilingly announced that he was hired. Yan Wenhan obviously didn't expect this turn of events. Maybe he came to the job search to find an excuse why he didn't have a job and was suddenly hired. The girl informed him that the talent the guy had was exactly the talent they had been looking for a long time. The guy was surprised as he had not noticed any talent behind him. He couldn't believe it, as 99 out of 100 candidates fit the exact same resume. The guy was even about to look for video cameras as he thought he was on some TV show. The girl winked at the guy and once again remarked with a smile that he had an amazing talent. She offered the guy a monthly salary of 20,000 yuan, as well as insurance and 20 days of annual paid vacation. The company also offered career advancement opportunities, bonuses and generous bonuses at the end of the year. All that went through the guy's mind after that speech was the sum of 20,000 yuan a month. Yan Wenhan was too worried when he heard what kind of amazing conditions the company was offering. In the current times, houses didn't sell well, and civil engineering graduates couldn't even find a job carrying bricks on the construction site. And here, all of a sudden, he was being offered the most luxurious conditions in the market. Seeing the pensive and seemingly upset guy, the girl could not understand why the guy did not immediately agree. She even thought that she had offered too small a salary. The girl had done research before leaving the valley, so she assumed that such working conditions would satisfy 99% of the graduates. She was faced with the dilemma of whether to raise the salary higher or leave it at the same level, as raising the salary would look too suspicious. Yan Wenhan didn't even look at the girl. He was pondering whether the girl was a fraud who was going to sell his kidneys and other organs. The guy just couldn't believe that he was so lucky in life. After all, he had never even won anything in the lottery. He was about to get up and refuse as the girl quickly noticed it. It surprised her that the guy was going to run away after she was interested in him. She looked into the guy's eyes and she extremely disliked the expression in the guy's eyes. She thought there was something wrong with this case. Finally, making up his mind, the guy stood up and apologized and said that he remembered he still had things to do. However, as soon as he turned his back, he felt an incredibly frightening aura. Turning around, he saw that the girl had a strange glow coming from her left eye. The girl told the guy to return and sit back down. A moment later, Yan Wenhan was once again sitting on the chair in front of the girl. Looking at his feet, he was startled as he found that his legs were not moving. The girl once again greeted the guy with a smile and asked for a moment to convince the guy to accept this job offer. Yan Wenhan was now sure that this was some kind of fraud. The girl started to take off her shoes. She said that the conditions might have seemed unrealistic, but assured that the company's details could be easily checked. After that, she got on the table and told me that you can find information about the company on Chichacha. Briefly, Chichacha is a sort of database of Chinese companies, and it contains records of over 100 million companies. She also said that the company has the support of the government. The girl with a smile assured the guy that the honesty of their enterprise is guaranteed and asked him not to worry about it. After reading a little bit of information about the company, Yan Wenhan thought that everything looked like a legitimate company with no offenses. The company had a large registered capital and 15 years of history. However, it still seemed strange to him because he was in civil engineering and it didn't fit his specialization at all, so he didn't understand why he was chosen. As if sensing the guy's doubts, the girl explains to him that she understands his doubts about the job. She informs him that the company is promoting a tourist project, and therefore they need someone to look after the construction of a new recreation facility. They don't have the right person, and they can't bring in someone from outside, so they set about finding an employee. After a bit of thinking, the guy doesn't realize at all that he was fooled and thinks that the girl's words make sense. The girl proceeds to convince the guy by telling him that she has scrutinized his resume. She even thinks a guy's resume is differentiated from the rest by the fact that everything is written honestly and down to earth, without exaggeration. The company was not short of money, and the company's philosophy is not to exploit workers. Work is supposed to be fun after all. The girl even reports that even the janitors in their company earn 20,000 yuan a month. After the obvious noodling in the form of information that is verified pretty quickly, the guy decides to believe that a rich company can throw money around by taking care of employees in this way. The girl adds that the company is a bit superstitious and hires the guy because his phone number ends with 888. The company considers this a very auspicious sign. Yan Wenhan is obviously willing to believe any nonsense to get a job and doesn't wonder how such a company hasn't gone bankrupt yet. He decides to believe that mysticism is the pinnacle of science and that everyone believes in luck. So he thought he was lucky for the first time in his life. After these first-class arguments that somehow miraculously convince the guy, he takes the job. Yan Wenhan is a little surprised at how quickly the boss signs his contract. However, the girl tries to justify that having met talent, one should not hesitate but act. After signing the contract, the girl welcomes the new employee to the unbreakable cultural creativity company. Yan Wenhan promises to try her best in her new company. However, the girl remarked with a smile that it will be enough if the guy doesn't run away. This moment puzzled the guy. The girl goes on to praise the guy that he is incredibly talented, so he should be able to handle it. She asks the new employee to pack his things and start work from the next Monday. The company had already booked a train ticket for the employee, and someone from the company was to meet him at the station. Yan Wenhan continued to be surprised by such rapidly developing events. The guy tensed up again as everything was too suspicious, especially the fact that the company had prepared in advance. The girl again tries to dispel the fears of the new employee. She informs him that while drawing up the contract, they used his data to buy a train ticket. She also says that if the guy is interested in something, all the details are already on his cell phone. After that, Yan Wenhan asked if he could go. This time, the girl no longer objected to him leaving. Yan Wenhan left the girl with the contract in hand. Yan Wenhan's starting date according to the contract was February 28th, 2024 year. The term of the contract, 2 years. However, as soon as the guy left, the girl's left eye once again shone with a red light. Yan Wenhan did not notice the main catch of his contract. The contract term instantly changed under the influence of the girl's powers, and the real contract term appeared. The contract was indefinite, not 2 years as the guy thought. The next day, Yan Wenhan went to the East Station of City C. He told his mum and dad on the phone that he had found a job and that it paid 5,000 a month, and also told his parents that he was currently on his way to work. The son decided not to tell his parents all the details because the parents would go straight to the police. The mum was so relieved that the son had finally found a job. She encouraged him and asked him to do his best, as it was very difficult to find a job nowadays. The son asked that mum not to worry about him. He hurried to catch the train and said goodbye to his mum. Yan Wenhan was once again surprised when the information board displayed his train going to the indestructible valley. The train's departure was at 11:11 p.m. from platform 11. The guy was puzzled as this train even had its own station. He even felt as if he was in some kind of movie. Today he had just forgotten to grab his glasses and the zipper-like scar on his forehead. After getting on the train, Yan Wenhan decided to take a nap. He was already looking forward to his life as a corporate slave with a certain amount of sarcasm. While the guy was sleeping, the train was traveling at full speed to its destination. One night later, the train arrived at the Unbreakable station. The train informed the passengers to get ready to leave the carriage. Leaving the train carriage and stepping into the station, Yan Wenhan noticed how lively the area was and how rich the neighborhood was. The guy wasn't too happy to find this out, as the housing prices were surely high in this neighborhood, and he even forgot to ask if the company provided a dormitory. However, something confused him, and that was how the people were dressed. He even assumed that there was a cosplay festival going on nearby. Yan Wenhan walked up to the signboard with the name of the train station and looked around. He had been told when he got a job that someone from the company would meet him at the station. At the same moment, a girl was holding a picture of Yan Wenhan and looking around at the arriving passengers. Among the crowd of people, she easily managed to find Yan Wenhan, who stood out from the other people. Hearing the sound of approaching footsteps towards him, the guy looked up. However, in the same second, the girl jumped onto his neck and hugged him. She was glad that her senior brother had finally arrived. Yan Wenhan's face turned red at such an act by the girl. He reckoned that the representative of the cultural company was indeed blazing with enthusiasm. Despite this, Yan Wenhan believes that one should not underestimate the willpower of a college student who has been tempered for 4 years. The guy informs the girl that she is overly enthusiastic about these events. He's all flushed from such an embrace. Guy tries to keep his cool, remember everything he's been taught, and stay calm. To calm down, Yan Wenhan even began to list the chemical elements, remembering all the formulas he knew and so on, all to distract himself from his thoughts. Finally, letting go of the guy's neck, the girl reports that she was happy to see the guy. She also noted that the guy seemed to be having trouble breathing. In fact, she was so happy that her master was able to fool someone and that they had found the person who would be their babysitter. Being the eldest, Yan Wenhan immediately introduced himself to the girl by saying his name and also asked the girl what her name was. The girl informed that her name is Yu Xin. She can also be called Xin Xin or Little Fish. Yu Xin smiles and informs that cats like fish. Are human ears fake or something? Hearing all this, Yan Wenhan decides to call the girl a little fish. He was completely serious as this was his job and he hoped he would hit it off with the girl. Shaking the guy's hand, Yu Xin is so happy and she is sure that they will be able to work together. The girl calls the guy her senior brother and informs him that the master asked her to escort the guy to the company. Yan Wenhan definitely wanted to find a job, and it seems that's why he subconsciously plays the fool. He is surprised that the company is treated like in the anime, senior brother, master. However, he decided that this was to be expected from a company with such a name. Yan Wenhan had heard that employees in some establishments even dressed like in anime. He thought the cosplayer girls were adorable, and no one would find it strange that they dressed like that. As they walked, Yan noticed the ears on the girl's head and how well made they were. He wondered how those ears stayed on her head, since it seems like the cat ears grow right out of the girl's head. While the guy was immersed in his thoughts, Yu Xin led him to the golden scooter. Yan Wenhan started to look at the golden scooter. He couldn't stop wondering, because the golden part of the scooter didn't look like paint, and the golden scooter looked very realistic. as if it was really made of gold. He had seen not a few scooters before, but such a model was unfamiliar to him, so he assumed it was handmade. Yu Xin says that she never learned how to drive a car, so she didn't have a driver's license, and since the other older siblings were busy, the guy would have to ride with the girl on this small electric scooter. Yan Wenhan reassures the girl as he doesn't mind such a trip at all, and that this way he can see the city on the way. He even naively thinks that he has such a kind co-worker. Looking at the girl, the guy is filled with confidence that the company has a great atmosphere. He naively thought that for once in his life he was lucky, and that he had a very good job. Yu Xin got on the electric scooter and then called Yan Wenhan to sit behind her. After the guy got on the golden electric scooter, they rode to the company. Yan Wenhan noticed that it was quite an unusual experience for him to ride a scooter behind a girl's back. He didn't know what he should grab onto to keep from falling off the scooter. It seemed to him that taking the girl by the waist might not be quite right. Besides, he probably didn't want any lawsuits. However, as if sensing his apprehension, Yu Xin turned to him and asked the guy why he wasn't holding on to her to avoid falling off the scooter. She subtly informed him that if he didn't hold on to her, he might fall on the way to the mountains because they were about to take off. Still not understanding the meaning of the words said, the guy cheerfully informed her that he had good balance and would not fall. Suddenly he realized that the girl had said they were going to take off, and at the same moment the scooter started to take off. The scooter lifted off the ground and flew into the mountains at breakneck speed, as if they were on some kind of airplane. Yan Wenhan immediately grabbed Yu Xin's shoulders, his head tilted back, and he saw what looked like some stars from behind the scooter. He couldn't understand what they were. His first thought was that they were some particles of light. Looking down, he was even more scared because they started to deviate more and more from the original route. The guy remembered that the girl had mentioned the mountains, which meant that maybe she wanted to take him somewhere in the middle of nowhere to have his organs removed. Yan Wenhan was about to cry because he thought that the villains from northern Myanmar had gotten to this place, which meant that he might lose his most precious possession at the end of his trip. Yu Xin was humming happily and didn't seem to be paying attention at all. The guy realized that he had to act. He was going to jump off this scooter and escape. Starting his report from 3 as they started to land, he jumped off when the countdown reached 1. While he was in the jump, he was even glad that his escape had gone well. However, a moment later, something confused him. As it turned out, Yu Xin had caught the fugitive and he was in her arms. Yu Xin admits that the master told her that Yan Wenhan might try to escape, and so she advised her not to let the duck fly away. Only now has the guy realized what an idiot he is, and that he was fooled and now his end has come. Yu Xin informs him that in this place there is no village nearby, no store with telephone, no bus stop, no railroad. Even a hitchhiker was impossible to catch. Yu Xin advised the senior brother to give up, as there was no way for him to escape. The guy cried. He asked to be kept alive and allowed his kidneys to be taken. Yu Xin was puzzled when the guy mentioned giving permission to take his kidneys. Yan Wenhan asks for mercy, as he needs to take care of his parents and he hasn't had time to have children of his own yet. So he begs and tearfully asks for the girl to let him go. The girl thinks that the senior brother seems to have misunderstood something. She asks that he stop thinking about leaving. Yu Xin informed that the senior brother signed a contract, and according to the contract, he belongs to the master alive. Dead, he also belongs to the master. If the senior brother decides to break the contract, he will face a fate worse than death. Yan Wenhan notes that he is not running away already, so he asks the girl to let him go. The girl immediately lets the guy go, and he falls painfully to the ground. Yu Xin is happy about this turn of events and asks that senior brother keep his word. Yan Wenhan is not a stupid guy. He was glad that the girl fell for his words. However, if he didn't run away now, he might not get this opportunity again. He decided to send the treaty to hell. After all, what could these people do when he ran away? Since he was a modern student, he figured he could handle any murky scheme. He called out to the girl, calling her a little fish. After that, the guy pointed to the sky, as if he saw a flying pig there. As she looked up into the sky, the girl was surprised, for the spirit of the pig had not yet learned to fly. While she was looking at the sky and didn't understand where the flying pig was, the guy ran away from her. Yan Wenhan believed that strength could be overcome, poverty could be gotten out of, but he wanted his kidneys to stay with him. Not finding any pigs in the sky, the girl turned around to inform her senior brother. At that moment, she saw Yan Wenhan running away from her. The girl realized that all this time she had been distracted by something that didn't exist. Yu Xin is outraged by this action of the guy since her senior brother is bad and lied to her. He is surprised by the fact that the girl is involved in fraud but still remained so innocent. Running away, he advises the girl, if she gets the chance, to run away too. Yan Wenhan assumed that since the girl had a scooter, she could catch up with him. He even somehow thought that the girl wouldn't be able to catch him in the field since the scooter wouldn't pass through there, although he must have forgotten that he had flown the scooter recently. At this point, the girl caught up to the guy and kicked him in the back, as she wanted to punish him for lying to her. The guy let out a painful groan as if his kidneys had been hit by this blow. Suddenly, a system window appeared in front of him. The system showed a notification that a physical impact had been recorded. After that, the system activated. Yan Wenhan was surprised that something strange appeared in front of him. He reached for the system, and the system showed that he had met a girl, Yu Xin, today. The girl's age was 16 years old. Affiliation, Spirit Cat Clan. Special skill, Enchantment, Level 5. Stamina, Level 5. Strength, Level 3. Agility, Level 5. Spirit Power, Level 5. Familiarity score, 0. Evaluation, outspoken and quick to act. The guy noticed that the girl was rather fast and also reckless. As the guy emitted his spirit, the girl complained that she may have kicked him too hard. Yu Xin notes with a smile that she wasn't aiming where to kick, so she may have hit the guy's head. After a while, the house of the so-called company Yan Wenhan had signed a contract with. He was lying on the bed, and sitting next to him on the chair was the same legendary conwoman who had fooled him. The guy finally started to regain consciousness and opened his left eye. Suddenly, he jumped up abruptly and sat down on the bed. He held his head with his right hand. Just after waking up, he heard someone talking to him with a sweet voice. He was surprised, for in front of him was the very girl who had forced him into this contract. Looking at the girl, he recognized her name as Yu Wanning. According to the system, she was the master of Wujin Valley. The system's evaluation of the girl, a heartless demon capable of doing anything except paying her wages on time. All of the girl's other details were not known to the system. Yan Wenhan only resented the fact that even the wages would not be paid, as he immediately covered his own mouth with his hands. Looks like Yu Wanning is also delaying the payment of wages. The guy mentally complained to his mom that not only had he fallen for the scammers, but he had also fallen into another world. Nothing good was waiting for him in this world. Yu Wanning resents why the guy in the job placement program wasn't told about the duties of the workers. The girl decides that it doesn't matter, since colleges nowadays work terribly. The guy is taken aback by the girl's statement. Yu Wanning decides to skip the small talk and get straight to the point. She informs that the employee can call them all cultivators who live in seclusion. The Cultivators Association monitors all cultivators, so they are not allowed to use magic in the human world. In the cultivator world, there is a special public relations department. If there are accidents, the department deals with scientific explanations for supernatural occurrences. That was why most ordinary people had never heard of cultivators. This information didn't really appeal to the guy anyway. Yu Wanning also informs him that their company is legit and they don't need fraudulent schemes or organ trafficking. Therefore, she assures the guy that his life and property are completely safe. She explains that their company is unique, but all the benefits and bonuses are quite real. Yan Wenhan doesn't really trust the girl and the company anymore. Yu Wanning reminds him that the guy can look up all the public information about the company on Chichacha. The girl informs him that the guy will be working as senior brother. To make it clear, she notes that senior brother is some sort of CEO. Yu Wanning notes that the guy didn't end up in this place by chance, as she was careful in choosing the candidate. She notes that the guy isn't an ordinary person either, and he has unawakened abilities. It's probably because he was able to spot her and get through the barrier of getting a job. After that, she exhaled smoke directly into his face and asked if he had any questions. Waving the smoke away and coughing, the guy agrees to accept that he has awakened some abilities and that there are cultivators in the world. Despite all this, he couldn't fully understand everything. Yu Wanning notices that the guy is brave and smart despite all the pressure they put on him. Therefore, she doesn't understand what else he hasn't been able to understand. In his thoughts, Yan Wenhan confesses that he doesn't really understand anything. Why he became a senior brother and about some abilities. Everything seemed fine, but he continued to feel like a corporate slave. He was shaking when he decided to ask his question, which other than during the job interview, the girl had never mentioned in any other way. Yan Wenhan wondered the most important question for him, whether the girl would delay his salary. Naive fool, of course the master will lie, and then will not pay as soon as it is time to pay. Yan Wenhan, the boy who survives. And that's all for today. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you would like to see a sequel, please like, subscribe to the channel, and leave your wishes in the comments. You can also subscribe to Telegram to know about new videos. Bye everybody.